On today's show, the Yankees make a big trade. We'll talk about who they got, who they gave away. Plus, what does this mean for Joey Gallo? Is there actually a chance of him reuniting with AJ Preller in San Diego? The Yankees are playing the Royals for the next 4 games. We'll preview that. And Abbey was at Citi Field last night, so we'll get to talk about the Subway Series. All that and more next on Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday, Yankee fans. Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen every day. We're free and available on every podcasting platform available. We're also on YouTube, so please subscribe, like our videos, and hit the bell notification so you know when they go up. Thursday, July 28th. We're only a few days away from the trade deadline, but the Yankees made a trade last night. And the timing was perfect because who wanted to talk about that game? No one. No one wanted to talk about that game. And Brian Cashman was like, I'm going to make a move. So then now you have to talk about the trade.
And it's true. That's like all anybody really talked about in post game. Yeah. Like Meredith opened it up by asking about Andrew Benintendi. And so here's what I thought was interesting last night. Pre-game, there's a few questions that are asked to Boone about this stretch of not so great play. Boone said very, succinctly, we're good. We're good. They go out, they get the Mets walk it off. Boone's sort of rationale was that they probably have all the tools in their own locker room, but upgrades wouldn't hurt. And, it's not like they weren't in that game. Max Scherzer was dominant. Max Scherzer looked like he turned 38 last night, and he looked like 28-year-old Max Scherzer. He was fantastic. So it's not like the Yankees played poorly. However, that one big hit was only one big hit, and that's not really what we're used to seeing from this team. We're used to seeing a lot of big hits. They've got a lot of heavy hitters in the lineup, one of which is not Joey Gallo. So Andrew Benintendi is the upgrade. It means Joey Gallo's got a plane ticket out of New York at some point. I don't know when. But so here's what I thought was interesting about Boone's postgame. He was asked about how right-handed heavy the Yankees have been in the past, and now they're starting to address that. They addressed it last year with Rizzo and Gallo, and now they've got Benintendi. He didn't like that. Aaron Boone said that was fake news. And first of all, I just want to say, can we erase that phrase from the lexicon of...
I hate it.
I hate that phrase so much. And it's not... That's fake. That's fake news. Like, you can't just yell that every time you don't like something. Like, Some people have... remember when Charlie Sheen's, winning was the thing? I hated that one, too.
Yeah.
Let's get some better phrases here, guys. Let's work on some, and he's like, he repeated his own phrase. He's like, we have savages. We have really good hitters. Okay. Yeah. But you were right-handed heavy previous.
Right.
You can't deny that. That's not fake news. That's not made up. I just hate that term so much.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting. I understand right now his role is to stand up for his guys and be sort of the face of that clubhouse when they're struggling. Not every manager does that. Not every manager takes that upon themselves. A lot of managers, when teams are struggling, they don't become the face of the clubhouse. They sort of become the voice of reason. Let's put it that way. Here's what I see that isn't working, but here's what encouraging signs I do see that will work. And then the voice of the clubhouse is the long tenured veteran or the captain. Boone is one of the guys. Boone is a player's coach. We know that. He has taken it upon himself to be sort of this singular voice. He's putting out a strong front to the reporters, to the fans, to the media. His guys are good. He's good. They're going to be okay. They're going to overcome this. This is just a little bit of adversity. And I thought that was an interesting approach. And it really just showed it confirmed sort of everything we hear about Boone being this like well-liked players coach, being very, in tune with his players. He's standing up for them. He's got their backs. I really would like everyone to stop using the term fake news, including you, Aaron Boone. He's a great talker. He can come up with something much better if he wanted to.
Right. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. Anytime anyone uses that phrase, I just roll my eyes. It's up there with everyone talking about everything being woke. It's like, can we stop with that too? It's enough. So the Benintendi thing, like I said, it was perfect timing. And for me personally, we spoke about this before we started recording, but I was recording Locked On today with Peter Bukowski because they know how much I don't like the Subway series. And they told me the other night, we're having you on Wednesday night, no matter what. I said, okay, fine. So the original bit was me complaining about the Subway series, and that was going to be it. And then we stopped recording. And he said, a bit of breaking news. You guys got Benintendi, so now we have to do this completely over again, and you have to talk about Benintendi. I'm like, okay, I can do that. That's fine. I like the move. He's been linked to the Yankees basically the whole season. People were talking about this the whole season. It felt like the Joey Gallo thing from last season. And, doesn't hit for a lot of power, only has 3 home runs, but he hits, which is important.
He's like a, TJ LeMahieu light.
Right. Let's see. Okay. He's batting .320, .387, .398, which is 111 for .347, with 40 runs scored, 14 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs. He's batted in nearly 40 runs. He has 4 stolen bases. That's in 93 games this season. And yes, he's getting the vaccine. Now, he didn't come out like Whit Merrifield and basically say, well, I'm not getting the vaccine for the Royals, but I'll get it for a winning team. Yeah. But this is basically what's happening. But I'm sure the Yankees basically said to them, he's not coming here unless he gets vaccinated, because they made sure the Yankees were pretty much one of the only teams in baseball that had all their players go to Toronto, because you keep hearing about other teams that are missing 2, 3, or in the Royals case, 10 players when they go up to Toronto. So,
and you can't risk that in the AL East. No, you can't risk that possibly having to play Toronto in the postseason. Yep. I don't know if the Yankees made a mandate and said you have to get vaccinated. I do think maybe choosing to get vaccinated for a winning team, I don't know about that attitude. Like, we've talked a lot about how refusing to get vaccinated is like not a winning attitude.
Right.
And when you're on the Royals, they're rebuilding right now. Okay, whatever, but to say that like, oh, I'll do it for, like, you can't just do it for humanity. Like, you can't just do it for, like, your neighbor next to you who like might be high risk. I don't know. It just still bothers me that like the attitude that people have about this, because it's a public health issue.
People are still getting it.
Yeah, can still get. I got COVID. I got COVID with the vaccine, but I also had no symptoms because I got the vaccine and I got boosted. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Like, we all know somebody who is high risk. It's sad that like they have to worry about their day-to-day lives, about being careful. Now we've put the onus on them, and I don't know. I just think it's not getting vaccinated is still a little bit selfish. And I get the my body, my choice thing, but like I don't, because that's a pregnancy. That's for abortion, and that's not, having a baby is not contagious like COVID is.
Right.
So, but he's getting it. He'll be in the lineup in Toronto, regardless of where they play him in the postseason. He'll be in the lineup.
Yep.
He should, barring injury. And it gives them another left-handed option. He understands how to perform in a big market. He won a World Series with Boston. I think maybe that's sort of the missing piece with Joey Gallo, he's just not performing in New York, whether it's like, I don't know, the pressure or the ballpark or whatever. Joey Gallo is not a New York type of player, I guess.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to say that, because maybe he works out better on the Mets in a year or two. I don't know. But something about this is not clicking with him. And Aaron Boone said, he'll have the final word. This is not the end of Joey Gallo, like, as we know it. Like, the narrative sort of seems to be like, oh, he's washed. I don't know.
I don't think
wanted
he
to
is. Yeah.
I think Boone wanted to dispel that notion and say he's still the same Joey Gallo that we traded for last year, but it's not working out here. He said he has the pen. He'll write the final act of his career on his own. It's just unfortunate that it didn't work out because he is a good defender. He's a left-handed power bat. It seemed like a good fit on paper, and sometimes you get guys in place, and it's just not.
Right.
So Benintendi should hopefully be a better fit since he understands how to play in a high-pressure environment.
So in a second, well, maybe not a second, but in a moment, we're going to talk more about Gallo, where he might go, and the Juan Soto rumors also, because that's happening too. And I forgot to mention that in the cold open. But first, welcome to the world of sports cards reimagined. The Sports Card Investor app is the hobby's most powerful resource. Quickly check the value of your favorite cards, find great deals, and profit from the hobby you love. It's available completely free in the Google Play and Apple App Stores. The Sports Card Investor app is a must-have for baseball fans. You can easily browse over 600,000 cards from every sport, with hundreds more added each week, plus Marvel cards. You can check the latest values of your favorite cards with 7-day or 30-day charts. You can also find the best prices and buy directly through the app with our eBay Deals feature. With the free Sports Card Investor app, you can pull out those old cards of your favorite childhood players and see how much they're worth today. For me, that's Don Mattingly. For some of you, it could be Derek Jeter. So download the Sports Card Investor app today. It's available for free in the Google Play and Apple App Stores, or go to sportscardinvestораpp.com/lockedon. Thanks again for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. The MLB trade deadline is August 2nd, and Locked On MLB has all the breakdowns. Locked On Yankees will have rapid reactions to any move made. Subscribe now to Locked On Yankees on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you get notified when each episode premieres. So I saw something earlier from NewJersey.com about Joey Gallo. I don't know how much truth there is to it, where I was talking about a possible reunion with him and AJ Preller, because AJ Preller is in San Diego now. But I know that there are also rumors where Juan Soto could be heading to the Padres, which Javi of Locked On Padres, we will probably hear him yelling from wherever he is in New Jersey. If that happens, he will be so happy. I think the Gallo to San Diego thing depends on Juan Soto. And if that doesn't happen, you could see Gallo go to San Diego, which would be an interesting move. But where does he go? I don't know how the Yankees even... I think there were reports that they can't even unload him on people because other teams are kind of like... with how he's been playing.
You have to expect a diminished return.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a premium prospect in return for him. Maybe you can get, I don't know, some... I don't know. You're not going to expect. You might be able to get a minor leaguer, who's who's probably not in the top 25 pipeline or anywhere near it, but maybe having a decent season. At this point, it is just to create a roster space. That's it, and give him a better chance to succeed.
Right. Now, speaking of prospects, the guys that the Yankees traded for Benintendi. Not bad and not too high on the prospect list. There were a couple, I believe, in the top 30, but they got a pretty good deal. Kansas City got pretty good guys.
Yeah.
Chandler?
It's a fair price for a rental.
Yeah.
We've seen in recent years, teams have been giving up their the asking prices in recent years at the trade deadline have just been astronomical. And this is a pretty fair price for a rental. So, if this is what's going to set the market, because this is one of the first big trades of trade season. Benintendi is one of the bigger names.
Right.
This is and typically some of these trades that happen a few days before the deadline set the tone, set the market. They sort of determine the going rate for guys. If this is the going rate, then, okay, teams are going to be giving up some decent talent for rentals, which is fair, instead of mortgaging the entire farm.
Right.
for 6 months, for, not even 6 months, for
Yeah.
a couple months of a guy.
Right.
Like, I don't understand how it, like, I don't know, like the last 2 years, maybe it's just because everyone's going crazy. Um, you know, GMs included, maybe, I don't know, but the asking prices for rentals has been pretty outrageous. This is a very fair ask for a rental, so maybe we're starting to see some correction in the market.
Yeah. Like the overall consensus from people who know more about this stuff than me thought it was a fair deal. Lindsey Crosby had some things to say about the three guys that were sent over. So it's right-hander Beck Way, left-hander TJ Sikkema, and right-hander Chandler Champlain. Now, he said about Way that he is a fastball artist and four-seamer, two-seamer, has a cutter, a slider, and a changeup. He said he needs to work on control and command, but he's the star of the package. He said that Champlain is a scout darling. The stats aren't necessarily great, but he competes and he has a very good arsenal: fastball, slider, cutter, curveball. And he said about Sikkema is the only one I don't get. This is what he tweeted last night. I'm guessing the Yanks see him as strictly a reliever now due to injuries because he's had lat, shoulder, and elbow injuries that have ended 2 seasons for him, and he lost 2020 to the pandemic. But he said he has tons of deception out of the low slot and cross-body delivery. So that's from Lindsey Crosby, who knows way more about prospects than I do.
Well, look, that could be a guy where the Yankees said, we need, they're sort of done with him. He's had all the injuries, and they're telling people this is not sourced information, but this is sometimes what happens. They're telling teams, you got to take this guy.
Right.
I'll give you 2 other really good guys, but you've got to take this guy too. And there is a chance that you can fix him in your system, but we're kind of done with him in our system.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's the case, but that is the case sometimes with some of these players who have, had a lot of injuries or like had a bad season. A lot of the times all it takes is like one pitching coach to look at, like a development coach to look at that and be like, I can fix your delivery. Come here. Come to me. I will fix this delivery and we will fix your elbow.
Yeah.
I don't know. So maybe that's the case. If that's the one that's that's the wild card one, that could sort of be the story there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not unhappy about this. I was pleasantly shocked actually when it came across. I was like, okay, cool. I like his numbers. Again, I don't really care about the home runs. He could possibly accidentally hit into one in the short porch. You never know. His numbers might actually go up because some of those doubles that he hit may turn into home runs in Yankee Stadium.
It's very short.
Yeah. So yeah, I like this move. I don't want it to be the only one. I don't think it'll be the only one. Jack Curry was kind of insinuating that it won't be the only one last night on the post game. I'm thinking at least a reliever. I would like another starter, but if they can't get another starter, a reliever would be a good idea for the Yankees.
I have an idea.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about this. Yes, Abbey has an idea for the Yankees and a trade. Let's discuss.
Noah Syndergaard. Noah Syndergaard. It's not going to cost the Yankees, a ton of top prospects. I know that Yankee fans are looking at every top player on the market being like him. We want the top guys. We don't want the mid-tier guys. But I don't know that they necessarily need a Castillo,
Well, they don't need him, but if you're going to go on.
I know that you grew up a Yankee fan in the halcyon days where every top player eventually came to the Yankees, whether it was a trade or a free agency deal.
Actually, that was after I grew up. I was an adult when that started happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand that this is what fans are still conditioned to think, but is it always good business?
Right. Well, no.
In today's game, it's not always good business.
Right.
So, Noah Syndergaard. He loves the New York market. It would piss off Mets fans. I mean, imagine just his social media chirps. He's pissed off at the Mets already.
Right.
For how everything went down the last couple of years with his injury. He's shown some pretty good stuff in Anaheim. No,
yeah.
he's not going to cost, any blue chip prospects. Maybe I can't see him. Maybe one really solid prospect, but I don't think he's going to cost the Yankees Jason Dominguez.
Right. Right. That would be really interesting, though.
I maybe I root for that because of like the chaotic,
the chaos. Yeah.
But I just think maybe he could be a good addition to that lineup. He's used to pitching in a 6-man rotation. If they get everybody healthy again, they can have a 6-man rotation because the Angels have largely used a 6-man rotation this year, even though it hasn't worked. That team tries everything and it just doesn't work.
It's amazing how far they fell off the cliff because, remember earlier in the season, it was like, wow, both New York teams and both LA teams are in first place. Wow, this has never happened. And then they literally just nosedived. Nosedived? Is that the word?
Oh.
Yeah.
They were in a free fall. They had to fire Joe Madden. Then they tried playing Creed. Wait, was it Creed or Nickelback? I can't remember. It might have been Nickelback.
May have been Nickelback.
They're both just as they're both the same to me.
Yeah, really. They're very similar. That's so funny. Yeah. It's just one of those years for the Angels. That would be really interesting, though, and that would be totally out of left field. That would be one of those trades where Yankee fans would go absolutely crazy. And I don't know if it would be in a good way, but like you, I would kind of like to see the chaos of a move like that, just because there is an evil part of me that likes to see people freak out.
But I don't think it's a bad move either. He's not pitching with the same power that he pitched with the Mets. His velocity is a little bit down, but Noah's constantly like tinkering, and he loves watching other guys to see what he can implement.
Right.
Like Bartolo had a slide step. He wanted to implement a slide step like Bartolo. He liked to throw his slider like Jacob deGrom. Like he loves to watch other guys and say, how can I implement that?
Right.
And he's constantly tinkering. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out. And there were times where the Mets had to tell him, like, scale back a little bit on the tinkering, throw what you know. But he was hurt so much that he didn't really get much of a chance to, like, he had some up and down times in New York. And I think maybe now that he's healthy, he understands what he's working with. That could be a good addition for the Yankees lineup. It's not the top guy on the market, but do the Yankees need another ace? No.
Well, all right. I do like
a staff full of aces, but is it worth sacrificing some of the high-end talent that this organization currently has in the pipeline?
I don't know. But I like the idea of Syndergaard because Cole loves talking about pitching with his fellow pitchers. And I feel like Syndergaard and Nestor Cortez would have a fun relationship just because of how goofy Cortez is and what he does in his delivery and stuff. And then, mix in Matt Blake, who has become like a pitching guru. I think that could actually be a good thing. So if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment about what you think about this possible trade idea, because that could be something. Yeah, I kind of want it now for the chaos. Let's do this. Let's get this to the Yankees.
Non-chaos reasons, I think it could work out pretty well.
Right.
He understands pitching in New York, and he's had to grow up quite a bit.
Yeah,
he's had to do a lot of maturing on and off the mound, and he's still got like that same sort of like fun social media presence, and he's still Thor. He's been humbled quite a bit. So
and that might actually work out to everyone else's advantage, whoever gets him. So
I mean, maybe New York Thor 2.0 wouldn't be such a bad thing. And it also would not cost the Yankees the high-end talent that they have coming through the pipeline, or at least not like, look, the Angels are going to get a good player back in return, if not a couple good players back in return, because I don't really know Syndergaard's market. I was trying to ask about it a little bit last night, but I'm not an insider. I cannot say that I have a good grasp on his market right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the pitching market has necessarily emerged yet, or that we know what the pitching market looks like yet, but the Angels are going to get a couple good players back in return. Yeah. There's no question. But would you rather give up two high-end or three high-end players to get somebody, or would you rather give up something a little bit less and still be able to use those guys next season?
Right.
To get a rental like Noah Syndergaard for a playoff stretch.
Yeah.
He's a rental. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. That could be an idea. We're going to have to tease this in the tweets for the episode.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
No, it's not.
Some fans are not going to. I know some fans are going to say it is though.
Right. Well, yes, because they're Yankee fans, and that's just how they are. So the Yankees. Now, it's funny that they did this with Benintendi right at the time where the Royals were coming to town anyway. So the Yankees are playing the Royals for 4 this weekend, starting tonight. Tonight it's Brady Singer against Jameson Taillon. Taillon is 10-2 with a 3.93 ERA, 84 strikeouts, and that is in 103 innings. Taillon has had a rough go lately. Against Baltimore on the 22nd, he lasted 2 2/3 innings, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits, 3 walks. The start before that against Boston was a good one. 6 innings, 1 run. So, that one game against the Angels where he pitched 8 innings, and ever since then, he's just been having issues. So we'll see how he does tonight. Singer, 4-3 with a 3.82 ERA, 81 strikeouts, and that is in 77 2/3 innings. His last start was against Tampa. 6 innings, 1 run on 3 hits, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, but he did not get the decision. So, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's that. I wasn't expecting the 12 strikeouts. When my eyes went across the line and I saw 12, I was thoroughly impressed. Nice job, Brady Singer. And on Friday night, it's Garrett Cole against Chris Bubich. Got the name right this time. And that should be an Amazon game. Yes, usually the Friday night games are your Amazon games, just so you know. We're more than halfway through the season, so if you don't have Amazon, I get it, but you should get it because you can watch on your computer. It's the greatest thing in the world. Or if you have the Amazon app on your TV, you can watch it on your TV. It's great. So Bubich is 2-6 with a 5.53 ERA and 55 strikeouts, and that is in 68 1/3 innings of work. He's only 24. He's a baby compared to most people. Garrett Cole, as you all know, 9-3, 3.09 ERA, 153 strikeouts in 119 1/3 innings. That's pretty good. That's a good job, Garrett Cole, with all your strikeouts. His last start was against Baltimore. Lost the start because that was the Saturday game. But not terrible. 6 innings, 3 runs on 9 hits, 2 walks, kind of uncharacteristic for him, and only 6 strikeouts, also uncharacteristic for him because his previous 2 starts before that start against Boston and Cincinnati, he had 12 and 11 respectively. So it's possible you'll see the strikeout total go up on Friday against the Royals, quite possibly. And then on Saturday, it is Zac Cranky against Nestor Cortez. Now, that's an interesting matchup because Cranky has been around the block. I saw baby Zac Cranky pitch in 2005. He got victimized by Jason Giambi on August 28th, 2005. And it's amazing that he's still pitching, and he's back with the Royals because he was with the Royals back then. Mm-hmm. And he is 3-6 with a 4.35 ERA, 47 strikeouts, and that is in 82 2/3 innings. He is 38 years old. He's the old man on the team. His last start was against the Angels. Didn't give up a run. Gave up 3 hits in 5 innings. Didn't get the decision. And his prior 2 starts to that, he picked up the loss against Toronto. Not a bad line, but, he only lasted 4 innings. And against Cleveland, he didn't give up a run in 5 innings, got the win. Nestor Cortez, as we all know, having an unbelievable season for the Yankees. 8-3 with a 2.48 ERA, 106 strikeouts. That is in 101 2/3 innings. His last start was a win against Baltimore, 6 innings, no runs, 6 hits, 7 strikeouts. And his previous start to that was the one against Cincinnati. He didn't get the decision. Pitched 7 innings, only gave up a run on 4 hits. So he seems to be rebounding from his little bit of a rough patch. And on Sunday, it's Jordan Montgomery. The Royals do not have a starter listed yet for Sunday, or at least they didn't a half hour ago. Let's double check that. Yeah. So I will preview that on tomorrow's show.
Two things before we go. I apologize to everybody on YouTube who just saw me spill coffee on myself.
Oh, no.
It's a daily occurrence, like 10 times a day, probably. Two, a few years ago, there was some discussion between the Mets and the Yankees regarding Noah Syndergaard. So it's not like the Yankees have never looked at the guy, or it's like not like they've looked at the guy and been like, no, never. Like that's not. There was discussion a few years ago when I was still covering the Mets. I remember, and even after I was covering the Mets, there's been some discussion. There's always been like that rumor that that the Mets and the Yankees would finally make a trade, or big trade, and it would be Noah Syndergaard going to the Bronx, and he went to Anaheim. But now is the chance. Now's the time.
Yeah, I actually do remember that.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, I'm just checking something because they did lose last night again. Boston. I was just checking because I didn't know if they actually lost last night. I did see that one play that there seems to be a play from every single Boston game lately, and they keep putting it on the internet to show just how bad they are. I'm enjoying it, by the way, because I feel like, the Yankees aren't playing great in July, but they were playing great before July, and I feel like they can get back to playing great because, they made the big splash with Gallo and Rizzo last year, and then they rattled off 13 games in a row, winning. So I feel like, one more move, and they can maybe spark something here. And I feel like the first 3 months of the season showed that this team was different than 2021. This past month feels like 2021, and I feel like if they start making moves, maybe they'll get back to how they were pre-July, and things will be okay. Because as Boone said, they're a good team. They're just having a rough stretch. And, sometimes good teams will go well the whole year and then kind of break down a little bit in September. Hopefully this will be the bad month, and then they'll just roll through all the way through October. That would be my wish. So let's hope that happens. Let's see. So tonight, yes, Royals, Yankees, 4 games against the Royals. And then after that, they play the Mariners, who were doing really well. They won 14 in a row, and then they got swept by the Astros, because who doesn't get swept by the Astros these days?
They're only half game back in the wild card. This could be the year.
Yeah. I was going to say, who doesn't get swept by the Astros? The A's. The A's actually beat the Astros the other night, of all teams. Baseball is just weird, really. I mean, we say it all the time. You can't predict it, Susan. And the things that you think are going to happen, like last night, I really thought Domingo Germán was going to just be bombed last night, and he wasn't. He was fine. It was really on the offense. And, Scherzer pitched well, but, there were some hard-hit balls, and the Yankees had some bad BABIP happening and just bad luck, and it was like, oh, my God.
Scherzer was dominant.
Yeah, but they were hitting balls off him.
Aaron Judge looked like a mortal. He looked like a mere commoner.
Yeah, but he
looked like a regular ass dude. Again.
Yeah, well, he needs to know that we all knew his slider was coming. What is he doing? Anyway.
Max was masterful the way he was mixing up pitches. I mean, look, we've talked about this many times. I don't care who wins. I'm just a reporter. I'm objective. So for me, it was just an entertaining game. Yeah. But I was also very entertained by watching the dynamics between the fans and the stands. And I did get out of the press box a few times to go walk around, and I love seeing groups of fans that are half in Yankees jerseys and half in Mets jerseys. And I was watching Aaron Judge's last at bat against Max Scherzer, so in the 7th, and there was 2 guys next to me who were screaming in their buddies' faces, getting right in their buddies' faces, MVP, MVP, and then he strikes out. And the Mets fans were having the last laugh, and then they were trying to get in their friends' faces, and it was. I don't know. These are the reasons that I enjoy watching the Subway Series, even if Stacy doesn't.
Hate it, absolutely hate it, because the Empire State Building was lit in Mets colors, and the Mets were acting like it was a big deal. I'm like, you can celebrate your July win. Have fun with that. Both
of these teams are probably going to make the postseason. So
there's my obnoxious Yankee fan coming out. Enjoy July, because The only Subway series that actually counted was 2000. Who won it? There's my end note for today. So that's it for this episode of Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Abbey and I would like to remind you that you can listen to the show on every podcasting platform available. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube, like and comment on YouTube, and click the bell notification so you know when our videos go up. And if you're looking for something else to listen to after you listen to us, why not listen to Locked On MLB? Make your second listen of the day the Locked On MLB podcast. MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan brings humor, passion, and a unique perspective on every team, including his Red Sox, and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. One more thing, if you can be so kind, rate our podcast and spread the word about our podcast to your fellow Yankee fans. We would really appreciate it. So enjoy your Thursday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.